'Cause in the land of cotton, old times are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland.
Railroad expansion following the Civil War played a pivotal role in developing the economy and culture in Arkansas. Musical pioneers of particular note who were raised in Arkansas during Reconstruction and the Gilded Age were Florence Price, William Grant Still, Luther G. Presley, Almeda James Riddle, and Scott Joplin, the king of ragtime. Scott Joplin was born on November 24, 1867 or 1868, near Marshall, Texas. He and his family moved to what would be Texarkana early in his life. A German immigrant named Weiss would teach young Joplin on piano, and Joplin would become proficient in European music. In the 1890s, Joplin began making musical relationships in St. Louis and Sedalia, Missouri. During this time, he wrote and published some of America's most important musical pieces, including the Maple Leaf Rag, heard here. Ragtime, or ragged time, was a style Joplin mastered in which the bass line on a piano was fast and rolling, melodic, and the rhythm lagged, creating new dance tunes for the burgeoning juke joints across the southeastern United States. As early as 1900, Scott Joplin was known as the king of ragtime. In 1904, he returned to Arkansas and married Freddie Alexander. Joplin's opera Treemonisha is partially based on Freddie's life growing up in Arkansas. The story of Treemonisha, set in Arkansas on an abandoned plantation northeast of Texarkana between 1866 and 1884, tells the hazards of believing in superstitions and speaks to the importance of education as a tool for overcoming adversity. The musical styles used in Treemonisha are a mix of African-American folk tunes, piano rags, blues, and classical music. After leaving Arkansas, Joplin moved to New York and by 1909 had composed more than 40 ragtime piano pieces. In 1915, Joplin self-financed a read-through of Treemonisha with voice and piano at Lincoln Theater in Harlem, New York. In 1917, Joplin passed away, and a self-published copy of Treemonisha did not resurface until the 1970s. Scott Joplin was posthumously awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1976 for his contributions to American music. The state's 1874 Constitution solidified opposition to equal rights, and this impacted the lives of many black musicians in Arkansas.
During that time, a young lady was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, 1887, by the name of Florence Beatrice Smith.
Florence Smith Price was part of a musical and well-to-do family. She published musical pieces while still in high school, where she was valedictorian, before studying at Boston's New England Conservatory of Music. Florence Price taught in Cotton Plant and Shorter College in North Little Rock. She was married to Little Rock civil rights attorney Thomas Jewell Price, but the Prices moved away after suffering such indignities as Florence being denied membership into the Arkansas State Music Teachers Association because she was black.
A lot did not get published under her name because of her race, because she could pass for white at that time, but not in Arkansas. So she had a hard time making a living.
She went on to be the first black female composer to have her work performed by a major symphony in America. Famed soprano Marian Anderson sang her works, and in 1933, her symphony in E minor was performed at the World's Fair by the Chicago Symphony. Born in 1895, William Grant Still grew up in Little Rock. With a diverse background, including pop, blues, and symphonic music, he also had diverse musical skills in orchestration, arrangement, composition, and performance. Still became a composer of international renown. He worked in W.C. Handy's band before he entered the Oberlin Conservatory of Music, although he left it for World War I. From the 1920s through the 1950s, the prolific Still wrote chamber music, operas, symphonies, ballets, and more. Hymns were another form of music being recomposed during the late 1800s. Born in Faulkner County in 1887, Luther G. Presley attended his first singing school as a teenager and soon began teaching and writing and editing for other songwriters.
Mr. Presley was a prolific songwriter. He wrote approximately 1,100 hymns or had something to do with those hymns. In 1937, Presley wrote his most famous song, When the Saints Go Marching In. Luther Presley wrote the lyrics or the words, and the melody was written by Virgil Stamps. Presley started taking music lessons when he was 14, and that continued for several years. And then at the age of 18, he actually started teaching in singing schools. Singing schools used to be very popular.
He made us learn the round note, but the shape notes are quicker read. Yeah, we learn both. And anything that I know that you can do, I can put the notes to it. Like that when I was, what was I doing? Sol, la, do, mi, do, mi.
Almeda James Riddle was born in 1898 in the community of West Pangburn and would become a prominent figure in America's folk music revival of the 1950s.
Do is your home note. That's what they call major. And the minor, la, is your home note. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Come on, boys.
Many of the hundreds of songs that Riddle would record beginning in 1952 dated back to 17th century Scotland, England, and Ireland. In the 1980s, the National Endowment for the Arts paid tribute to Riddle as the Great Lady of Ozark Balladry.
I was blind, but now